Welcome everyone to my SH Figuarts comparison with the latest Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness with some of its previous releases in the Infinity War line. So the one in the middle is the newly released Doctor Strange. Of course, the new movie is out just days away now, and we're going to be comparing it with the one on the left, the first Infinity War edition, and the one on the right, the second Infinity War edition, known as the Battle on Titan. And in total, Bandai to Machinations did give us 4 Doctor Strange figures. The first ever release was for his solo movie edition. So if you're also looking to compare that one, there's actually not much to compare since I have the first Infinity War one. But that figure also included some flame effects. Let's begin by taking a look at the packaging. So this is the first edition, the Infinity War one. And then they gave us the Battle on Titan. And then we got the Multiverse of Madness, which of course, again, the colors match the theme of the film. And this time there's a further away shot of the character, which I really like as well. So it's very different to the other two. So let's begin with the comparison between the SH Figuarts Doctor Strange figures. So obviously Doctor Strange has been wearing more or less the same costume throughout the movies. From the first solo film to Infinity War to Endgame to Spider-Man No Way Home. And he's finally changed up the look of it in his Multiverse of Madness. As you can see, it's a lot more blue this time. And then the previous Infinity War versions, which is the same costume, is very different. So since I haven't seen the Multiverse of Madness yet, obviously, I still prefer his previous suit. There's just a lot more going on. And maybe after the movie it will grow on me. But you can see that both the Infinity War editions, so the one on the left, the first one, compared to the Battle on Titan, is very similar. Now the only differences is the head sculpt and the cape, and there are some changes to the outlook of the costume. So the first, the way the belt is built is placed differently, and also the first one had gloves on, whereas this one doesn't. And the main thing is probably the cape. So the first one they released is like an old style to Machinations look, which is the hard plastic. It does have articulation, you can move it around, but I just feel that it kind of gets in the way and there's just not enough flexibility when you're doing your poses. So it's not a great idea to have a hard plastic cape. So that's why to Machinations just like abandoned it and changed it to the soft cape later on for all their characters. And then the second one is obviously the improvement, the Battle on Titan, this time with the soft cape. And there's pattern inside, which is accurate to the movie. There's also bendy wires for you to articulate it in certain poses. So it's a much improved Doctor Strange figure. And the other thing is the head sculpt. Now the first one, I think the head sculpt is okay for a MCU to Machinations. It's still one of the better ones out there. But I just feel that they improved on it a lot in the Battle on Titan, as you can see. Just a lot more detail and definitely resembles Benedict Cumberbatch a lot more. Multiverse of Madness, very different. You still have the Eye of Agamotto, which is connected on. He is taller than the previous 2 Doctor Strange figures, which is a big plus. And the other thing is obviously the cape is all soft. This time it's more accurate, more realistic, as the full thing is in a soft cape with the bendy wires. But because of that, the collars don't really sit well on his shoulders, which is disappointing. I think it's just too high, as you can see with the collar. You have to really bend the wires inside to get the collars in shape. And then inside you have a lot more blues, so a totally new design. And the other thing is the head sculpt. Now this one is different to the 2 Infinity War versions, and I would say that it's actually not too bad. I would say that this one in some angles looks really good, and it's nice that to Machinations have given us a different head sculpt again, so you're not getting like the same figure. These 2 are obviously the ones that are going to battle it out for which one is the best, because I feel that the Infinity War one is very detailed and looks really good. But this one looks a bit more realistic, even though it's a bit plain. I just feel that it resembles the actor a lot more for some reason. So yeah, that's the only thing. Cape wise, obviously this is better because you can take it off. But when it's on Doctor Strange, the best one is probably still the Battle on Titan. So yeah, that's just a quick outlook in terms of what they look like. And now we can move on to some of the accessories. So for the accessories, let's first take a look at the alternate hands. So the first Infinity War edition came with 5 sets of alternate hands. For the Infinity War Battle on Titan, it had 7 sets of alternate hands. And for the Multiverse of Madness edition, it also came with 7 sets of alternate hands, plus 1 extra left hand which has the sling ring. So with all those alternate hands, of course the Doctor Strange figures can do many magical spell poses, but one of his trademark looks has always been to create that magic circle. So all 3 figures do include a set of orange circles to create that look, and all 3 of them are different in their own way. So first you can see that the first Infinity War edition, it was a plastic piece with this type of pattern, and you connect it through one of the alternate hands. And then for the Battle on Titan edition, they more or less kept the same design with a thin plastic that is transparent, and this time with a different kind of design. And then for the Multiverse of Madness, which I think is the best one so far, they've changed it up totally by giving us a full sculpted plastic, and again you punch it through a certain set of hands. So you can see that all 3 sets are different, but definitely they've improved on it in the Multiverse of Madness. And for both the Infinity War editions, there was an extra magic circle, as they have a green edition as well. So I'll put them on the right hand. So this is the first Infinity War edition version. And then for the Battle on Titan, it was a much smaller circle and probably more transparent. So both of these included 3 circles, whereas the Multiverse of Madness only had 2. And this is what sets the Infinity War Battle on Titan apart from the first edition, is it also included extra plastic pieces of magic circles that go around the arm, with 4 orange versions as well as 4 green versions. It also included an extra left hand with the red blaster effects, a blade which can be used on either the right or left hand, and it also included a green effect piece which can be placed on the chest, which matches well with the alternate head sculpt, which is the eyes closed for the meditating pose. Which brings me on to the alternate head sculpt. So the Battle on Titan included this head sculpt, and then for the first Infinity War edition, it included one that was slightly different from the original, with a slightly more aggressive face with the mouth open. And then for the Multiverse of Madness, unfortunately there was no alternate head sculpt, as it only included 1. So since we're on the subject of the head sculpts, let's do a head swap between the 3 figures, as I know some people maybe prefer the Infinity War edition, or some people maybe prefer the Multiverse of Madness. And since both the Infinity War editions included extra head sculpts, so if you have all 3 figures and you're not happy with one, maybe you can add an extra one for a certain figure. So let's first start off with the Multiverse of Madness. So this one only included 1 head sculpt, so it's going to be a bit different when you remove the head. And it does include a peg inside, and you're not going to be able to place the head sculpt on top, I don't think, because it just doesn't match. So what I have to do is remove the peg inside, and then I'm going to just sit one of the heads on top. So starting off with the first Infinity War edition, so it kind of looks like he has no neck, so you're probably going to have to somehow fix it and have him maybe use a bit of blue tack, or maybe switch out the pegs if you want. I don't know if that will work, but you can see this is what the head sculpt looks like. And then I'm going to try it with the second version, the Battle on Titan, which is a better head sculpt. And as you can see, it doesn't sit on either, but it actually looks pretty good if you prefer this head sculpt. I mean, obviously it looks like he doesn't really have a neck, but you can see that it looks pretty good as well. And then we can try out the Multiverse of Madness head onto the first Infinity War edition. And this actually probably looks a bit better since the collar is there. You can't really see if he has a short neck. And I think this looks pretty good. It definitely upgrades the Infinity War edition. I really like it. And then we can also place the Multiverse of Madness head sculpt on the Battle on Titan edition. And again, it also looks pretty good as well. So I know a lot of people do like the Infinity War head sculpt, the Battle on Titan edition, but the Multiverse of Madness version is actually not bad. As for a final display, I'm most likely going to keep the original Multiverse of Madness head sculpt on the body, but for the Infinity War editions, I may use the Battle on Titan head sculpt on the first Infinity War Doctor Strange, as I feel this head sculpt is a lot better than the original. And then for the Battle on Titan edition, obviously I'll just use the alternate head sculpt, which is the eyes closed. And going back to the accessories, the Multiverse of Madness does include this exclusive effect, which is the snake, which we saw in the trailers. And depending on which hand you prefer, the right or the left, you can place it on the end. And the snake is basically on a stand. And this is exclusive for this movie only, of course. And what I like about this is you can also use the fisted hands for the magic circles as well. So that's the difference between this one and the Infinity War versions. And here are all three figures with the capes removed, and as you can see, the latest Multiverse of Madness is probably the most accurate one, as the other two Infinity War editions still have the collar on. And most likely in my final display for the Infinity War ones, I'm just going to keep the cape on. As for the Multiverse of Madness, there's going to be many different poses. Since we've seen in the trailers, he's not going to be wearing the cape in a lot of the scenes. So that is probably what's best about this figure, is when you remove the cape, it's the most accurate one. And because of that, you can also place the cape on the stand. And it does have bendy wire, so you can do articulation on the cape and have it floating, which is a really cool effect. And it's something that I really like as well. So since the cape doesn't place that well on the Multiverse of Madness, I may just leave it on the stand. So it really depends on what kind of pose I want. And for the final comparison, both the Infinity War editions included this plastic piece, which is the portal effect. And for the Multiverse of Madness, they didn't include it this time, but for the usual background, it's not a plain color, as they do actually have artwork on top. So it really depends on what you prefer. Obviously a lot of people want to use the portal, but I guess this is something different and it's something we haven't seen before. So that is my SH Figuarts comparison between the Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness with the two Infinity War editions. Of course all three figures are great in my MCU display, but given a choice I'll say the weakest one would be the first Infinity War edition, since it had the weakest head sculpt, the least accessories and the hard plastic cape. So it was a toss between the Infinity War Battle on Titan and the Multiverse of Madness, and I'm going to say my favourite is still the Infinity War Battle on Titan, simply because the costume is still the best. It has the most accessories with different weapons for different poses, and the alternate head sculpt is a big plus. As for the Multiverse of Madness, it's not a bad figure, in fact it's a pretty good one in my opinion. It just lacks the accessories even though it has the best magic circles, as the cape doesn't really sit well on the shoulders. It's probably better on the stand. As for the snake effect, I haven't seen the film yet, so I don't really know how important it is. But overall, I really like all three of my Doctor Strange figures, and I'll have them in different displays. If you enjoyed this video, please like, comment and subscribe, and let me know which one is your favourite so far. And if you haven't already, check out my review of the Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. I will put the link in the description below. And stay tuned for more videos related to the MCU. Thanks for watching and hope to see you next time.